So finally back into some structured training, having just finished my first 4-week block. And what that looked like was effectively week 1, 2, and 3. Well, really just getting back into, as I said, a structured program again after my grade 2 calf tear, which was back in mid-June at Cairns Ironman, which was a terrible way to end what was a great season, but it does happen, and especially as we get a bit older. So after that race, I literally had a good 5 weeks of non-structured training. And I say non-structured training because the first 9 days I actually did nothing. And I had planned on doing 2 weeks of nothing and then introducing some just light bike rides again, but didn't quite make it through to the 2 weeks. Training for me is very much a mental health thing as well as a physical thing. I do need to get out there. I do need to be doing something, and I do need to have sort of goals to work to. So saying that, this video is going to cover a few of the goals for the upcoming season, as well as having a little bit of a look at how I structured those 4 weeks. And that was really quite simple. And the 4 weeks included 3 swims, 3 bike rides, and effectively 4 runs. So how I worked those weeks was Monday, I had a complete recovery, apart from week 1, which I just introduced a light bike ride. Now, most weeks though, it's Monday a rest. Tuesday, I do a bike, and it's indoors because I want that to be a structured session. And what I find outdoors these days is too difficult. And I'm in Brisbane, Queensland, Australia, where there's a little bit of traffic. There's a lot of traffic lights, and you can't really go out and do a structured bike ride as far as a session goes. So I find that it's very, very easy to do those indoors, and I've got a great setup for that. And if anyone would like a little bit of a video on how I set myself up for those and what equipment and what platform I use, just pop a comment down below, and I'm more than happy to throw that together for you guys. But Tuesdays generally is jump on the trainer. For those first few weeks, it was literally a 60-minute, and I was using just a structured program where I was doing a warm-up and then a few 4-minute blocks with a good recovery in between each. And then at the end of that, what I would do, and I didn't introduce this until that end of the second week, was a run off the bike, because what I wanted to do was start to see how that calf was feeling. And to be honest, those first few weeks were like running on eggshells for me. You're sort of waiting for something to happen or for some tightness to appear in it. But thankfully, I've gotten through this 4-week phase with actually nothing. And I realised with my run on Sunday, just gone, and when the Tuesday today, is that I'm not actually thinking about that calf anymore. So it did take quite a few weeks to get that out of my head. So now Wednesday in those structured weeks, what I'm doing is hitting the pool. So as I said, I'm doing 3 swims a week, and those swims now are Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday. My bike is Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, and my run is a run off the bike on the Tuesday, an endurance run on the Wednesday. I do a interval type session, and at the moment those interval sessions are literally just 6 by 2 minutes with a 90-second walk recovery, and they'll go out to probably 4 minutes with a 2-minute recovery later when I start doing that. But they'll vary depending on where I'm at in the program. And I'm also including 2 to 3 mobility or stretching sessions per week as well. And generally I do those on the bike days because that's my sort of double session for those days. But however, the 4 weeks went very, very well. I found that I've been able to cope with that program, and there's been no injuries and anything like that. And progressively I've sort of been able to build those up. So my recovery week, which was that week 4, what I did there was exactly the same, except I dropped the run off the bike on the Tuesday, so it just became 3 swims, 3 bikes. So 3 swims, and just go back on that. The swims were once again Wednesday and Friday, both being interval swims. The Wednesday swim, the intervals in that were literally 8 by 100s. That was the main set. And the distance, or the total duration of each of my swims, or 3 swims for the week, with 2,000 metres each. So that gave me 6K in total. The Friday swim was also an interval swim, and the focus there was on longer sets. So the main set within that session were 4 by 200s, and I did those with paddle and bull boy. And then the endurance swim for the week was on the Sunday, and it's just a 2,000 metre. And I do throw a wetsuit on for that one at the moment, because the first race of the season will be a wetsuit swim. And once I've got that race out of the season, we'll be dropping the wetsuit for the endurance swims moving forward. So, and that's literally a 2,000 metre straight out, just turning the arms over, staying in that zone 2 or the upper zone 2, but not really pushing too hard at this stage. My bikes during that session, Tuesday and the Thursday, were both indoor sessions where I was able to be very controlled. and work on that. And as I said earlier, it's very hard to do any sort of structured session out on the road. And they were both of just 1 hour at the moment, but very controlled warm up with a heap of 4 minutes, just working on power and being very controlled with that as well. And my run, like I said, apart from the recovery week, I have a run off the bike on Tuesday, and that's normally just 1 or 2K, nothing more than that. It's just to get those legs moving off the bike. An endurance run on the Wednesday, and at the moment that's only building up to sort of 60 minutes at the peak of that block. Intervals on the Friday, and warm up, heap of 2 minutes on, 90 seconds off. And then on Sunday afternoon, just a nice 30-minute zone 1, lowest zone 2 recovery run, followed by a nice drink session, not so much alcohol drink, but some meet the wife and that down on the beachfront there, and then have a nice walk home to finish the week off. Now, goals ahead for the season, so there'll be no Ironman in the 26-27 season at this stage. So, and I'm looking at my seasons through to literally April. What I've decided to do is this season is to focus on, locally in Queensland here, we have what we call the Queensland Triathlon Series, and there's 8 races in that series which commence on the 27th of September at the Moreton Bay Triathlon, where I'm going to do a sprint distance, so that's a 750, 20 and 5, and I'll throw these up on the screen there for you. On the 11th of October, there's the race 2 in the series, which is a 900 metre, 24 and a 6. The 15th of November is actually a state championship. It's part of the series, but it's also the state championship round, and it's an Olympic distance at 1.5, 40k and 10k. On the 6th of December, we have round 4 in that series, which is once again Raby Bay there, in 900 metre, 24 and a 6. The 10th of January, down onto the Gold Coast at Robina, and it's also a state series. It's round 5 in the Queensland Tri Series, but it's a state championship for the sprint distance, which is the 750-25. The 14th of February, we're back at Raby Bay again, 900, 24 and 6. April is round 7 on the Gold Coast. It's another sprint at the 750, 20th of the 5. I'm going on the 21st of March, which I should include in there because it's going to be my A race for the season. So I'm going to actually head to the T100 on the Gold Coast and do the 2K, 80K, 18K. And my goal is top 10 age group there, which is last year I believe there's about 78, I think, in that age group. And to make top 10, you've got to be going fairly firm there. And I want to qualify there for the Qatar final, which is, I believe, will be towards the end of 2027. So, but this is going to be on the 21st of March, so which is prior to that April round 7 on the Gold Coast. So I just hadn't inserted that there. And then I'll finish off that season on the 16th of May again with the round 8, which is the 2K, 60K and 15K. Once again, at Clontarf Moreton Bay Tri. And we'll see how we go with the points. Last season, I was consistent enough that I placed in every one of those rounds and managed to win, I think, 1 or 2 of them. To win as far as the age group goes and top step on the podium in the age group, and that gave me enough points to wrap up the series. So I'm looking forward to being able to go into that series this year, not having the fatigue of the Ironman training last year that I had heading into Cairns, because a lot of those guys, as you know, in Ironmans can run for over 2.5 hours, and you're out on 4 to 5 hours on the bike. So you're not really going into any of these races fresh. Where this year, I really don't need to start the sort of longer training, and it doesn't have to be as severe as Ironman until probably December. And then you can still retain that speed even for a T100, where the Ironman, you're really more zone 2 focused, because you're never really racing an Ironman, you're just competing and finishing it. So anyway, that's what my season's going to look like. I'd love to any comments down there on what your guys' plans are for the season, what you're looking at racing, wherever you are in the world. And until next video, guys, stay safe out there. Cheers.